Okay, we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to Decentralizing. Um, Aaron just made me crack up. Anyway, tonight, guys, I wanted to kind of talk about a topic that's near and dear to my shadow face
In the
heart.
darkness.
In the dark heart. Man, the lighting's not. Oh, thank you. That's better. Okay, so what are we doing today? I used to be a high school teacher, as some of you know who've been checking out this channel, for nearly a decade, right? And Miss Erin here.
Yeah, I was also a teacher, but I taught littles. Even though I could have gone the other way, but I can't do high school.
Yep. And what's interesting is that I ended up doing blockchain security for a major crypto exchange. And I think that some people might think it's impossible to, shift into something like crypto assets. I just keep burping. I'm sorry, everybody. It's just like this. Don't drink carbonated soda water while you're on a live stream. It's not good for your flow of words. Okay, let's get right to it. But bottom line is, how do you make a transition like that? There's so many challenges. It was a process that took many, many years, and I kind of want to actually go through it. I want to help people who, because I've been asked this like on and off, you know what I mean? People have asked me.
It's a huge change.
Yeah, they've asked me like, how do you get into the industry? How do I get a job in the industry? What do I do? And I've actually had a job in the industry. Of course, as you might know, we originally got in like back in 2013 as early speculators / investors in the tech and the idea of Bitcoin itself, and later Ethereum in 2017. But how did that become a career, you know? It wasn't like a one-to-one quick path.
No.
But, so yeah, I want to answer that. And I do want to say that like my experience is a little bit more specific to being an engineer, because that's the role that I got hired to do. Analyst, engineer, compliance, and security roles. That's essentially what I've been doing in the industry so far that I've gotten paid for.
Well, and I would say too, like I would connect with your undergraduate education, because originally he wanted to be like a computer engineer, so he took a lot of all those computer engineering classes, and then at the end just changed to a math major. So, yeah, so he did have certain skills, and also you had all the like JavaScript and all that. You had website design, coding.
Yeah, and in fact, I'm going to show a little bit about how I leverage that to help me out in the industry and how I continue to leverage those skills, because as you can see here from my resume, and it actually, that's how long I've been on this earth, is long enough that
You're getting old.
that I graduated with my bachelor's in 2006, and actually we got married the week after, which we're about to celebrate our anniversary. Like
18
next week.
years.
Yeah, 18 years, man.
Next week.
18 years, baby, and we've been together for 5 more than that, right? 23 years. So, this was just a life for us, was teaching abroad as well as teaching here in the Albuquerque area. But prior to that, when I was actually at UNM, I was studying math and computer science was my minor. Sorry, our son walked in here. He's not sleeping like he's supposed to be doing.
Well, he just got mad at us. Yeah.
I studied computer science and had a minor in it, and ended up going into web development. I was already, intrinsically interested in engineering and computer science. My father was a computer engineer. He worked a whole career with Digital Equipment Corporation and HP, so I was the kind of kid that was raised with tech in my house. I think that helped out. So if you have a tech background or a finance background, like immediately that's going to help you already understand and vibe with the way that the crypto asset industry works. And I think like one thing I'd always tell people is use your unique experiences and abilities and leverage those so that you can actually get where you want to be in the industry. Because I had to use the fact that I lived all over the globe and I had international experience and in other languages, right? And understanding other cultures and adapting to new situations and working in a dynamic type corporate setting where things change quickly and everybody is going to have different opinions and thoughts, and you have to be someone who's open-minded, flexible, but also you have to be like goal-oriented, and you have to take ownership of what you're doing and get it done, right? So there's just a lot of things that could happen if you're trying to get into a more, well, really any organization, but especially the larger ones that are more like, centralized exchanges and larger projects in the space. Because I also feel like I'm very qualified to talk a lot about the interviewing that I've done, because I've done a lot of interviewing as well. But yeah, let's go back to this transition a little bit, right? I did work as a web designer for like a year and a half, and we had a web design business. And actually, we went back into teaching after that business didn't work out all the way. So, on a level, you could say I'm just like a failed web designer turned into a Web3 blockchain developer who got lucky that I was able to have enough hustle and just like sheer determination and passion in the space. And I went and I took a course in Solidity Smart Contracts in 2018. I went and I've gotten all these, things.
Little certifications.
Yeah, little certifications.
Here and there, some of them bigger.
Yeah, actually, let me come down here to this part. So you can see that one thing I would also recommend to people is definitely, if you can afford to do so, even if it's just short term, getting LinkedIn Premium. That's helped me. I get hit by recruiters just so often, all the time, even during the bear market, that it's kind of ridiculous. And it's because they can see, just like we all want on-chain evidence of what we're doing, they want to see the Web 2 version of that. They want to see proof from these certificates. And the certificates, nowadays, most of them, not just LinkedIn Learning, but I would recommend Coursera. That's where I took the smart contract development courses that were offered by the State University of New York. That's where I also took some courses from like Johns Hopkins in data science. All these things were in my profile when I got scouted and found initially, and worked as a contractor in blockchain security, where I audited smart contracts, and I got hired for really a role that was something I'd never done before. I had been in teaching for a long time. I taught a variety of tech subjects. I also but really the last 5 years before that, I was teaching philosophy, in China. And although we discovered Bitcoin while we were there, the cool thing about teaching philosophy abroad, guys, is like you have extra time to get into the tech shit. Like if you love tech like I do, and that's why I found Bitcoin, right? Like, and I got all passionate about investing,
To be fair, you also had taken some business courses. I have my undergraduate degree in business, and then he kind of did a little bit of that before we went abroad. But yeah, he just had some classes under his belt, and we were just starting to invest in the stock market because, we were late 20s, 30s, trying to, plan. And so that was like our first delve in it. And we were already doing all that kind of stuff, like the traditional how you invest, for retirement. And then he came across that, and that's how that whole story started.
Okay, so as you can see, I definitely have a lot more written when I send these to employers than probably your standard person who's applying. And I think that's probably why I get hit up all the time by algorithms. Likely, like keyword research is finding me. The systems that they use for managing the content that gets turned into them, which is all of us job seekers, like people don't even necessarily see it. The best way into the industry, obviously, is if you know people. And since I had that role at a major exchange where I did blockchain security audits, smart contracts, blockchain audits, and monitoring and detection work, and a lot of documentation work, things of that nature. Since that time that I had that role, it's just been a nonstop stream. Like I just like ignore recruiters, honestly, most of the time. And the reason why is because I've been working on my own personal projects and interests. And the cool thing is, like, you don't have to come into this from a technical angle. I would leverage what you have. If you're really good at sales and marketing, find the projects that you're passionate about. Like, get into the open source communities, get into the Discords, get into the Telegram groups, get active on X, Twitter.
There's also DAOs and lots of like work structure DAOs that have,
NFT projects
things that you can do.
Yeah, NFT and ordinals projects like Quantum Cats. They raised millions of dollars, and like I know that they were we're looking to hire somebody. Like at one point, at least they put a posting out. But there's a lot of organizations in Web3 that are raising money all the time, and they're hiring talent, and only like about 30% of the talent is actually technical talent. Like one thing I've heard you say to me, for example, is like, I don't know if I want to because I've kind of told her like she's like got the bug. Okay, first I gave her the travel bug, now I gave her the crypto bug and the Bitcoin bug. And you know she's always been on board and part of the decision making process, but like she wasn't super passionate really. But more and more now, you're thinking about getting a job in crypto one day, huh?
Well, I feel like Web3 in general is like the future, and if you can't read the writing on the wall, then you're just living in like head buried in the sand. So for me, it's like I just feel like everything in this space is the future. Like this is where the future is heading, and if I don't get with it, then I'm going to be a laggard. I'm going to be behind, and I don't want to be like that. So I've been a mom, and I have taken years off, and I definitely don't want to be a teacher again. So this is my transition. You know, I have an MBA and a BBA, but I need something that differentiates me, and I also feel like this is the future. Like this is the future that is coming in the next 10 years. It's just us all waiting for everyone to onboard.
Yeah, and I would say that about motivation for why you want to come and get a job in blockchain, crypto, Web3, Bitcoin. You know, if you've been in the space a while already as maybe an investor or a trader or speculator or even just someone who's been learning about it, or maybe you come from Web 2 and you have a traditional cybersecurity background or a traditional development background or infrastructure background, or it could be marketing, sales, product, finance, HR, legal. Every job that's in traditional companies is in Web3 companies as well, pretty much. And that includes creative work as well, artistic, you know, design work. It's there. It's maybe not as common yet because the venture money seems to flow first to like the tech people. That does tend to be a lot of it. And especially in the bear cycles, it seems like that's where more of the hiring is done, but also a lot of the firing.
Yeah, I would also say like a big thing, well, we'll talk about the trends in like a different video, but one of the things that you can look at is like how, I don't know, like what does a company need? And everybody needs somebody to be marketing, PR, to do writing, and the bigger the companies are, the more they're gonna need that. So you just need to kind of find a niche, something that you're good at and a talent that you have in this field, and you'll be capable of finding something. You just got to sell yourself. So he's going to talk to you about like some of the ways to sell yourself.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say like one of the biggest things if you get LinkedIn Premium, and that's not the only way. There's a lot of other communities, and there's decentralized communities too, where you can actually get job postings and all that. And there's pros and cons to working with recruiters. Like a recruiter will like push your agenda and try to get you hired. But on the other hand, I've had cases where it's been pretty clear to me that either you get offered a contractor/consultant role if you go through a recruiter, because they have to pay the hiring manager, the hiring company has to pay that money to the recruiter, right? If there's no recruiter and it's a direct hire, they save on that part at least, right? So then that might leave open more budget for like a direct hire type status. And also there is just kind of a preferentialness for a direct hire or referral hire. A lot of these are referral hires. I have another interview tomorrow at a major crypto exchange, and that is a referral situation as well, where that's where I got my foot in the door. And so I think it's very powerful if you make connections, and those connections can literally come from anywhere. That's what's cool about this space, guys. It's so small, you do not know who's a whale, who's got like, the Chinese would say guanxi, which is social connections and clout, right? Like you don't even know who's got the clout out there. And that's what's fun about the space, The PFPs sometimes give you an indication into who you might be meeting, but it's just so much fun to go out and network and meet people anyway, right?
And I would say honestly, like more than the traditional field, because of course everyone you have a higher chance if you know someone somewhere to get a job, but I feel like in this space, like because they're so interconnected to the internet, because they're so like in this world and in this space, I feel like you have a much higher chance if you have a networking situation to get a job, because people will be like, you know what? There's that one guy, Nate, and he does this. And remember I talked to him? Okay, I'm gonna hit him up because I need someone for this role. And it happens a lot. Yeah. So it's really important to I would say, network, meet people, get on Discord, get on Telegram, get on all these different, X, whatever, and just meet people. And that's a huge huge
Yes.
connection that
Yes.
can give you like multiple job opportunities.
And you can use LinkedIn Premium, and also, like, we're not getting paid for that. We pay for it, so they should pay us. But, like, anyway, they're not. But all I'm saying is, like, we do leverage the ability to use where you can do an in-mail, which is, like, you can message somebody who's in HR or maybe somebody that has a role or a position that you're interested in, and you want to learn more about it. You want to ask them questions, maybe just express that you're interested, in working. Like, try to identify the companies you're interested in, try to identify the types of roles. If you can, it's helpful to figure out if you want to do like DeFi or NFTs, or if you're just like Bitcoin only, or because that could end up bothering you if you're a Bitcoin only person and you work at a place that supports a whole bunch of assets you just don't like, or you're not like philosophically aligned to. And think about the culture of the company that you're at. Like, if you get your first gig, you may have to do something that you don't want to do as much. But like, I would at least make sure that you have so much passion about crypto, blockchain, whatever it is that, the industry in general, that you're not going to be totally miserable in that role. My experience is that people work incredibly hard in this industry, and they're very just like talented and driven, and the hours can be absolutely brutal sometimes, but people will pretend that it's not. They'll smile and act like everything's all good, but like, people are working hard in this industry, and there's a lot of stress and pressure to compete and like be at the top of your game and to demonstrate. And what's cool about this industry is that it's merit driven. Like, that's what I think is the thing about it that I love so much. Like, it's about what you are doing, what you did, what you can demonstrate, what you can show, and what you can prove. Like, I'm gonna pivot to that. Did you need something?
No, he just keeps coming out here.
Oh, okay.
His stories.
Okay.
I'm sure
I'm gonna share a different thing here real quick.
Show him your website. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Do you have anything you want to say while I'm doing this?
I guess I would just add to that, like, I think as somebody that's just trying to get into this, the best thing is, like, so I had a lot of reticence about getting into this because I'm like, I'm not a coder. I mean, I got through like calculus, but just barely in college. And so it's not exactly like my realm. I'm not like the tech person because I kind of always defaulted to him being the tech person. But, I just started to like learn about it because I was interested in it. And I think there's like a base level of knowledge that, yeah, you have to fill that knowledge gap. But if you're already interested in this, then you already filled that, you know what I mean? And the great thing is there's a huge resource in the internet, You have YouTube, you have all these different podcasts all over the place. And you have X, and you have just a huge network of just free education. So as you're skilling up, I guess I would say, I would just kind of like look at all these resources and find that, and just kind of learn like the background, the basics, just to, we call it in teaching scaffolding. So I did the first scaffold, now I gotta keep going up. But I would suggest that if you're interested in this field at all, in any capacity.
Yeah, and like, for me, it's just been a journey of like continuing to think about it step by step. Step one was like investing in the asset class, just learning a lot, finding out that my interest did not diminish despite the bear markets. Like, it only increased. The drama attracted me more and more to figuring out what was going on. But more than that, it's the potential for just absolute utter change for the world, That's what really motivates me and keeps me in this space. And if you don't feel that, if you're just trying to get rich quick, I don't know, you might burn out, is all I'm going to say, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion, because I have strong opinions sometimes. But
yeah,
and I'm like a true believer, so yeah, get in, be a true believer like me. No, but if you're not, that's cool. You can. Everyone likes tourists, but I will tell you that firms love it if you're crypto native, and they will ask you that, and they'll ask about open source contributions. They'll ask you about your GitHub. So if you don't even know what GitHub is, figure out what it is at least, so you can at least know the word, and see if you can go out and clone a couple repos, and maybe if you can develop some of your own stuff and build a project of your own, then you can make people be
it's your
impressed.
Portfolio.
Yeah,
your portfolio.
You can impress some folks, and maybe they'll give you a shot at something cool. And so going to hackathons helps, right? Like, here's what the thing I want to say, going back to what Aaron was saying about kind of like a process of learning and scaffolding and skilling up, is that the companies look at it like that too. I've had some firms I interviewed at that were the top security and audit firms in the space, okay? 2 of them that were top firms, and I made it far in the interview process in both of those firms. And in both cases, it was a scenario where they wanted me to keep working with them and updating them and staying in contact with the I'm guilty of ghosting right now at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because I just haven't got back.
With staying with the hiring managers.
But yeah, they're like, okay, we want to know
updating his process and his achievements.
Yeah, and they'll go and look at your GitHub and they'll look at what projects you've been doing if you want to show them, and if you've gone to a hackathon and you've won awards, or you've got grants, or you've been part of a startup round, or a founder, or anything, like an advisor on some project.
Consultant.
These are all great things to talk about. I would never say that you should lie about the way you're presenting them, though. Okay, like, talk about all your experience as much as you possibly can, but don't try to BS people, especially engineering types, on your actual skills and coding ability.
Yeah, 'cause they'll find out real quick.
They do. I've had a couple times I've been put to shame on some Python exams because I didn't learn Python. I'm old. I learned C and C++. I learned JavaScript. And then nowadays, my tech stack has expanded into, of course, Solidity and Go and Rust and some of those other languages to some extent. But when somebody starts asking me a lot about Go and Rust, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be like, hey, this is the extent. Yes, I passed the LinkedIn exam on it. Yes, I understand the syntax and some of the rules of the language and the type of language, and whether it's compiled or not. And yes, I can write some code, and yes, I can debug it and stuff. But would I call myself an expert? Very different thing. You'll
and they'll
find.
know. You can't. This is not something you can fudge. They will know. No.
And you won't make it a long time anyway. But if you've got hustle and you figure it out and you use the tools that are out there, like AI, leverage AI. That's just my opinion. Don't rely on AI, but leverage AI. You know what I mean?
It makes you faster.
Yeah. If you use it the right way and you question its hallucinatory abilities, you can go far. You can develop some crazy stuff that's really fun. And as an example of that, okay, so going back to that journey that I took, I wanted to be a teacher still, but I got cancer, and as I was healing, I went back to school, and I got my MBA in finance because I said, well, hey, if I'm going to have to work from home and remotely, and I can't really sit in front of a classroom full of kids because I'm in pain all the time, and I don't feel very
competent.
Yeah, sound in my head right now, pain, you know what I mean? All the time. Now that's cured, but at that time, it was the kind of scenario where I wanted to be able to just kind of use my brain again and not have to use social skills. So I really dove deep into finance, and I got that MBA, and I got the finance certificate. I got a job as a regulator in mortgage as a state regulator. And so I was examining loan, escrow and loan companies and mortgage companies, and all of that was tangential to crypto. It wasn't directly related. I knew I had a long-term goal where I wanted to get into companies like Coinbase, and I didn't know how the hell I was going to get there, because it's very difficult and elite to get there, and you see a lot of folks from top universities who get in there, and just brilliant people in institutions like that, the best and the brightest in the world and in crypto. And as a result, it can be quite intimidating. If you do make it in, you're going to feel that what is it they call it, imposter syndrome? Because I definitely felt it every single day.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, but you just keep faking it, and you do your best, and ask for feedback, be earnest with yourself, and be okay with failing, because I've had to fail a lot. Cancer taught me that it's okay to fail sometimes, and that life's going to beat the crap out of you sometimes, and
no matter how good you are.
And you may not even get up right away, but as long as you keep getting up, you can keep fighting. And if you're passionate about something and you love it enough, and you love your family and you believe in what you're fighting for, I think that eventually the world will help align to bring that about, But you got to put it out there too,
So show them your website.
Okay, sorry, I'm talking.
Refocusing you.
Okay. Well, I pretty much showed it already,
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of say that.
Cool stuff.
Oh.
Show them
Well, that's not the purpose of the video, is to show.
No, but I mean, visually and how it looks, and I think that's an important thing.
Oh, I was doing that while we were talking. All this time.
Well, I didn't pay attention to the website.
So the viewers would have seen it, but
okay.
Was there anything you wanted me to hit up in particular? I guess I don't know, guys. I'm not saying my approach is the right one. I'm just telling you what's worked for me and my style. I like to be very honest and comprehensive about what I think I can and can't do. I like to tell people more information than less. Most people aren't that way. So
Well, and
that's just
also
me.
our world kind of wants you to like minimize as much as possible,
Yeah.
which is what they always say.
But look, I had web design skills, right? How did I update my web design skills so that I can move toward blockchain development and being a founder and creating, really a channel where I can provide education and we can be creators and we can create our own autonomous life. How did I get to all that? Well, step by step is how we're getting there, right? Like, and building all the things we want. Like we build, Discord channel and like a YouTube channel and music playlists for fun and just all the things that I want to share with people about Bitcoin and crypto culture and the ways that this might be able to improve people's lives, on a very individual level. Because when you get to a bear market, like just staring at price charts and giving into depression and anxiety,
you're all depression,
giving into depression and anxiety,
it's kind of hard.
could get a little rough, okay? And you can only touch so much grass, especially if it's winter, right? There's no grass to touch anymore; it's all dead. So, it might be helpful to sort of refocus your efforts and think about a grander mission for personal development,
and other topics and
yeah, like when I went to
facets of your life.
after I finished that year in blockchain security, what really helped me grow is I did something totally different. I decided for the first time, like we got into Bitcoin in 2013, and this wasn't until 2023, only like a year ago, 1 year ago, that we made the decision to start getting social in crypto. And truthfully,
that's right. Yeah.
After that job, I realized that there's actually a lot more I didn't know than I thought I knew. After all those years,
it doesn't matter.
You could just keep going and going. It's an infinite
I
thing,
think basically
dude.
you could spend your entire life, if you are like an amazing brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have amazing retention, you could spend your whole life learning about this.
But
Like your whole life.
I think the biggest place I went wrong, or maybe not went wrong, but I waited too long, is I didn't think I could ever get into an industry like this. I didn't think I was actually talented enough to be a developer and to understand the way that these complex systems work at such a level that I could even start architecting and building them. And that's the part where I was like, yeah, I get them, I can read them for years and years, and I'd read more and more and more. And then I worked in an organization where I was like, well, shit, maybe I can't do this. I'm not good enough. But no, I kept going after that. Like I decided I'm gonna not be afraid. I'm gonna keep pushing the boundaries. I'm gonna go biddle, okay? Because I hodled. Now it's time to build, and that's what the Ethereans call it. They call it biddle. And so, that's what you go and do at ETH Denver's. You build stuff. You build projects, and I love that spirit, and I love seeing that spirit returning to Bitcoin right now. And that spirit made me go and socialize, and I joined some Albuquerque cryptocurrency meetups, and I met all these guys. Web3NM group has been amazing. I've made connections and had job opportunities and partnerships, and there are some real big names in the space here in New Mexico, believe it or not.
Super talented people.
Yeah, and you don't even know. Yeah, and talented and fun. We've had great social events.
Yeah, has been fun.
All that because I was afraid to socialize or really like put myself out there because of my crypto thing that I was ashamed of, which we don't need to be ashamed of, guys. It's mainstreaming, and I think that
if you're
we're doing
here,
good stuff.
You're not ashamed anyway.
Yeah, you're not ashamed anyway. Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't let my issues get in the way.
And
on that note, do you think there's anything else we should say about this right now? I had a lot more. I didn't even look at my list. I just freestyled it.
Yeah, but it's been...
Yeah, look, if you guys have questions, comments,
Yes.
Also experiences in the industry, tips, please put them in here. Things you'd like to see in a future video, because seriously, I'm very disorganized when I speak sometimes, and I'm random. But I know a lot of shit. I do know a lot there's a lot up here, and I promise that I have a lot of experience and information that I can disseminate. And I'd love to do a Q&A at some point too, if anybody wants to ask more questions about specific experiences and jobs that I've had so far in crypto and Web3, and how to get those certifications, and how to even, take some coursework that Coursera, Udemy, things like this that are low cost, even free if you put in a little financial aid thing, because at one point we weren't doing okay. We needed help at one point, and these things are there for you.
Because we hodled hard.
We hodled hard, and I had cancer, and you were pregnant, and it was tough. But you know, we're here now, and we've been persistent, and I think we're going to keep lasting, and I hope you do too. So hang in there, hodl strong, biddle strong, and
Keep up the good work.
Build yourself up, and don't be afraid to fail, and get out there, because you know, you're worth it. So, all right, peace out.